Ruchir, I think for you, I would love to understand more on the developer side. I know that you have had a lot of experience in that kind of developer ecosystem. How does one as a 0 to 1 founder really put yourself out there, evangelize your product with kind of the cybersecurity developer ecosystem, evangelists, both, of course, from a go-to-market perspective of your own product, but also even learning of what's new, because this is a very fast evolving space.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what you were saying as well, right? Like cybersecurity is a very small knit community, right? Like almost everybody seems to know everybody in this space, right? Building that trust is very important, right? So one thing that somebody told me very early on is when you're building a company in this space, more than branding your company, you need to brand yourself, right? Like they're going to buy from you more than your company. And because this community is so small, there's very few places where you can almost run into all of them. And building trust in person is so much easier than over a Zoom call or over a meeting or something, right? Being at these conferences like DEF CON, Black Hat, B-Sides, all of these OWASP meetings, meetups, it's very easy you'll keep running into the same people over time. You'll start building a good rapport with them. Being from the security background, building trust is also much harder. But when they see you have the same interests, they're talking to you again and again, that trust builds fairly quick after that. And I think it plays a very big role in the ability to sell that, because it's not just the trust that you built with that person. Now, once you've sold it to one CISO at a company, if they like it, they are going to talk to 5 other CISOs. But if they don't like it, they're going to maybe talk to 10 other CISOs about it, right? And all of them are going to trust this person's verdict way over anything else they see out there. That trust, building that network of people that can talk about you to others, is definitely very important, right? Because me going and telling about my company or my product versus, let's say, somebody else who has just used it or is a known person in the security domain talking about me or my company is going to have a very different effect. So one thing I did the last time we met as well in the Bay Area, that trip I only focused on activating the network, right? Like where I was like, I'm just going to talk to people who are reputed in this space about what I'm doing, what we are building, giving them demos, showing them what we're building without the goal of selling, right? Like I just want to start building out that network of people who can potentially talk about what we're doing, because that second-hand information is usually, even I would trust, let's say somebody comes and talks to me about a random security product, which they have no interest of selling, has a lot more value for me than the founder or the salesperson from that company coming and talking to me about that. And I see that's even more relevant in security. Being at these events, bottoms up also plays a lot bigger role. Like even if, let's say, we are selling top down to enterprise, when I put on my seller hat, right, while I was at MPL, I paid a lot of attention to what my teams and my engineers were telling me, right? What are they seeing? What are they seeing their friends use? What are they looking at various Discord channels are talking about? What's happening in various events? So I think a lot of decision makers up top also, in order to be updated, there's limited attention span they have, right? So if they want to know everything that's happening, their team is the number one source where they learn from. Even if you want to sell top down, bottom up presence also needs to be there in this space for sure.
I think I totally experienced it myself as well, what Ruchir pointed, which is the chances of us closing deals have drastically increased after, in the cases where I met the person in person. It's like actually majority of our customers, I met them in person and closed. And there are several POVs where like they are like completely in a different country or remote, and I didn't meet them and they didn't go well, even though the product and everything was the same. And now in the hindsight, I should have actually bought a ticket and directly went there or made some excuse to show up at the customer's door and met them. That could have completely changed the game. So I experienced it firsthand. And second, the second point you said is also very important. People try to slot it into patterns. When they say bottoms up, is like it does not have to be that they download and they use and they love your product and then they are evangelizing it for you. People on the ground are the ones who are actually rolling up sleeves and doing it work. I personally think many people are still thinking that, oh, it's good if you just go and convince a CISO you can sell the product. Not really, actually. Like, first of all, CISOs or even the second level, third level leaders are so busy, they don't have time. And two, we have amazing people on the ground who are actually doing the work, and they are going to judge the product, and actually they have to love your product. Without that, there is no sale. The CISO or all of them, they're not going to buy it. In fact, I have even come across cases where they were able to completely just stop the sale as well if they personally don't think it's a great product. So that's why everybody's just are you top down or bottoms up? And in this GTM, how do you go? It's not a either or kind of case, especially in this. You definitely have to win the heart of these people on the ground, make sure the product works and they love you. And then you also build trust with the leadership team and you have personal reputation and all, so that everything comes together nicely.
Just one more anecdotal piece, very similar to that. Right? Like while I was a buyer, like while at MPL where we were evaluating products, the vendor would have thought that I was the one who was looking at the product based on all the conversations. Like I was having all the conversations. I was passing the feedback of yes and no. But in the background, I hadn't even opened the tool once. Right? Like I was just going to the team, asking them, okay, are we buying it? They say no. I'm like, why are we not buying? They give me the feedback and I pass it on to the vendors, right? Because I also feel like I don't want to spend my team's time talking to vendors, convincing why we're not buying and stuff. But I value their opinion around whether we're buying or not a lot more, right? Like, so somebody who's selling might feel that, oh, it's the CISO making the decisions, but a lot of times it's really the team that is making the decisions for them.
I always say that customers don't buy products from companies, people buy products from other people. So every business is a people business at the end of the day. So I think what kind of at least I'm hearing from both of you is I think the importance of building trust, and more importantly building trust both top down and bottoms up, so across organization. And second is I think the value of just putting yourself out there. And I think it's a big personal growth hump as well for a lot of founders to cross, especially first time founders. But I think the results are immense of putting yourself out there, and especially in today's day and age of social media.
I would send a message to engineering based founders who tend to be little introverts or shy away from doing this. I'm telling it will be worth, and you would thank yourself for doing it. Push yourself, just get out of the barrier somehow, somehow get some accountability partner or something. But you would never regret it. You would thank yourself for doing this actually. I wish I had done whoever told you that your brand is going to be more important than company brand. I wish somebody had told me on day one and pushed me actually.